Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today I want to talk about something that is kind of... I feel like it's starting to get a little bit divisive on the channel, in the PC space, and that's never been my intention, so I want to set a few things straight today, and I want to kind of talk about the plans of PC content going forward, just so that you guys can understand that, like, I'm not here to cover... Like, I've made the difficult decision to not... Well, it's not even a difficult decision. I'm not going to cover AMD like I'm some silly fanboy that's like, yeah, AMD can do no wrong. I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to paint myself into a corner covering like damage controlling for a company that doesn't even know I exist. Like, I'm not going to do that. When it comes to AMD and the content... This is like I've been what is it? It's well over 70 days now since I switched and I upgraded over to AMD, and you know, I at first I kind of felt like, gosh, man, like, look how much attention I'm getting for switching to AMD. Look at how many people are coming to the channel. Look at how many people are subscribing. There's people that just are hungry for this AMD content. So in my head, I started, I started thinking like, yeah, man, I can just, like, I'm super happy about my AMD card, so I can just make I can just make good content about it and be happy about it. And let's face it, man, like, when I'm making these videos, like, I do come across and start to sound a little fanboy, like I'm like this AMD fanboy. Right now, I'm very happy with AMD. I am, and I feel like if you bought one, I'm pretty sure if you're just a gamer and that's all you want to do is just game, and you're in between like 1440p, 4K, I think you'd be happy with this card. If you're a 1440p gamer, I guarantee you'd be happy with the 7800 XT. I just feel that I kind of feel blessed. I feel like I just came into AMD at a good time. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people out there that just complain and nitpick and just have such a big problem with AMD. So, one of the things that kind of got me on this kick today, I was watching a Daniel Owens video. It was him doing, like, the 4060, the 4060 Ti, the 7700 XT, and the 7800 XT. And this is what I mean, okay? So I mean, people come to my channel and they tell me that I'm a fanboy, or that I'm just beating a dead horse, or that Nvidia is better and stuff like that. And so when I was watching Daniel's video, and I'm not going to watch Daniel Owens no more. Like I'm not going to watch any of them anymore, because and I'll explain why, just so that you know. So we're going through the benchmarks, okay? And he starts to get to the parts in the videos where he's like, okay, now we're going to talk about, like, the DLSS, FSR on. And after every one, it's like he's like, yeah, well, I just think that this part looked a little bit better with the DLSS, or you don't get the ghosting or something like that. And that got me thinking. It's like, when I first started watching Daniel Owen, he was like just a straight shooter type guy. And it was like, okay, man, like, I feel like this guy is honest. I feel like this guy is genuine. But now it's like every single reviewer out there goes out of their way to take a pot shot at FSR. Like, they just do. Like, there's no reason for it. You could just be like, look, man, because like, think about this, man. Are you really going to go out and buy a 4060 over a 70 or over a 7700 XT or over a 7800 XT if that's like your budget? Are you really going to leave that much performance on the table because, yeah, well, DLSS looks a little bit better? I mean, seriously, guys, this is getting, like, so far out of control, and I swear, I feel just like I feel the same way about Fanatec. You know, I feel like these reviewers, when they get a free product from Nvidia, it's almost like, hey, Nvidia will be like, hey, man, can you talk about DLSS in all your videos? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem, man. Thanks for the 4090. You're awesome. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, thanks for the 4080, and you just see them with all these cards, and they're like, yeah, this is awesome, man. I get it. Like, I get it, man. I'm a content creator, and when Camus sends me stuff, I get a little bit happier than probably I should be. Because it's cool. It feels good to get a freaking product. Like, nobody is perfect. Like, nobody is perfect. But when it comes to taking pot shots at these other brands, like this, it's like the whole thing with Camus, dude. Everybody that they get set at Camus, everybody talks about Fanatec and the feels. Like, it just feels a little bit. I'm telling you guys that between Fanatec and Camus, really, man, you're gonna tell somebody to spend extra money that they might not have to chase a product for such a freaking small little thing. Like, I'm serious, it's very small. For such a small thing, when they could have something cheaper that's going to get the job done, and 100% they're going to be happy with it. They're never going to miss those fills. Trust me. I don't miss them. I've got Camus hooked back up right now. I've got the Camus hooked up. I've been driving on it today. You're not going to miss those little fills. And the same thing goes with DLSS and FSR2. Now, I've been testing FSR2 a lot more lately. Like, I have. I've been testing this and looking at it and trying to find things that like kind of that would bug me. And to tell you the truth, when I'm looking hard for something, like I was just playing a Settle Corsa Competizione just a minute ago, and like all the things that you would think would bug you, I mean, like if you're driving, you look over at the side and you kind of see something like a little bit flickery or something, or like any of the straight lines or something, or like when you're coming across the little rumble strips or something, you'll see them kind of being a little blinky or something if you're using FSR, and like I'm looking at it and I'm like, does that matter to me? And I'm thinking about this in my head. I'm like, and this was the exact same thought process I had. I was like, dude, if I had like a 4080, I wouldn't see that little flicker on the ground. But then I thought to myself, I'm like, dude, a 4080 with 16 gigs of VRAM at the price that it costs, like, trust me, man, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. But and the Settle Corsa Competizione is one of those games that kind of favors Nvidia tech. Like, it just does. Like, you get in there and like the DLSS and stuff. I kind of feel like these developers don't go out of their way to fully utilize FSR, because I've seen FSR in some games like Starfield and other games that absolutely looks incredible. It looks incredible, man. Like, I can't tell a difference. Everything that Alex Battaglia was pointing out and stuff, like, dude, you barely notice that stuff. Like, you have to really be paying attention to it. And like, is he even testing that stuff on an AMD GPU, or is he testing it on an Nvidia GPU? That might make a difference, because when I'm playing, I'm not seeing ghosting. I'm not seeing the extreme stuff that he's showing. Like, I'm not seeing that. And I've made plenty of videos showing you that like, you can watch through all them videos of Starfield and you can see for yourself. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing what they're seeing with all of this stuff. And I think there's just this, I mean, dude, I bet AMD honestly could come out with AI freaking upscaling just like Nvidia DLSS and XeSS, and they would still say, nah, DLSS looks better. I could guarantee it. I could guarantee it, man. Like, AMD could come out with like matching quality tech, like frame gen and DLSS, and I guarantee these guys would look for any and every single reason they could to talk down about it. What you get with FSR2, and in the way it is an upscaler. And if you go back and you look at this, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're on Nvidia, you're on any of these cards, you're essentially flipping that on and playing at 1440p. Am I right? It's like quality is 1440p. You flip it down to balanced, and it's like 1296p, all the way down into performance, which is like 1080p, and it just upscales from those lower internal resolutions. If we're using FSR to play a game at 4K, that means our card is a 1440p card, because if you just put it on 1440p, and I've looked at this, dude. I've seen this in multiple games with the 3080, with the 7900. If you just go to 1440p, like, you almost get the same freaking frame rates if you just go to native 1440p. It's kind of weird. Not all the time. Usually, mainly with with the quality version. Like if you go with quality or something, you're only getting like 10 to 20 frames back anyways with that, but sometimes that's just enough to push you out of the 40s into 60 FPS mode, or into 60 FPS territory, so you can get a better looking image quality and still play on a 4K screen. I don't know. I don't want this to turn into like an AMD fanboy channel. Like, I really don't. But at the same time, I want to help people make like an informed decision. I want them to know that, like, hey man, you can be happy with AMD. Like, you might struggle for the first week or two. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say that, like, oh yeah, right when you flip it on, it's just going to be all peaches and rainbows and peppies. It's not. Like, you're going to turn it on, and you're going to miss some of that stuff. You're gonna miss like that DLSS. You're gonna miss all of these things. But then once you actually get in there and you start playing the games, and like your mind readjusts. Once your mind readjusts, I don't think that you're gonna hang up on it for a very long time. It was about a week and a half for me. It was about a week and a half for me before I started getting used to FSR, and what really helped me was just being able to play the games natively and not have to worry about FSR. That's what helped me. That's what helped me. And then once I started, being able to see what was going on, and getting used to the AMD software and the AMD card, I'll tell you what really helped was virtual super resolution. Was just putting the games in 6K and then having them downsampled to 1440p. That looks incredible. That looks better than DLSS and FSR. Like, no matter that just absolutely looks better. You get no stair step, and you get nothing. It almost looks as though it does have like DLSS. So if you're buying a 7900 XT and then still playing on 1440p, and you can utilize VSR, virtual super resolution, to upscale and then downscale. It's pretty cool, man. Upscale or not upscale, but put it on a higher native resolution and then downsample it. That looks incredible. But you are going to get like 4K frame rate. So if your game is doing good at 4K, then you'll get the 4K frame rate, which is usually from 60 to 100 frames a second on a lot of these games. And then like with newer games, yeah, you might get down into the 40s. Like, you're going to get down into the 40s, and then you could flip on your FSR or whatever and bring your frame rate back up and have it playable at 4K. So that's at least there. So it's not one of those things where I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I don't want to sit here and try to convince you to buy an AMD graphics card. Like, I don't care. But I mean, I do, but I don't care. Like, I want you to save money, but I don't care. If you want to keep buying Nvidia by all means, man. I'm not really trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to let you know how I feel about it. But now let's talk about the future of content with the AMD graphics card. How I want to do things. So I'm thinking about, instead of just doing like the same old benchmarks that everybody else does, I'm thinking about trying to get my game to the best image quality possible, and then whether that's using upscaling or whatever, and then do the benchmark that way. So look out for that. I will say my benchmark or something like that, like, because I want to be able to get the image quality looking really good, like playing around with settings, all of that stuff, and then I want to be able to if I need to use FSR or something like that. If the game usually runs over 60 FPS, with at 4K without it, I'll do one without it. But if I need FSR to get over 60, I'll choose which setting or which level of FSR, what we're gonna do, and then we'll try to get as close to we'll try to get a playable frame rate at 4K, and then we'll see what we can get at 1440p native. So we'll do 1440p native, and then we'll do you know, FSR2 either native or with upscaling and all of that stuff. You know, like when frame gen comes out, we'll run it with frame gen. We'll do, if frame gen looks good, if it enhances the image quality as well as the frame rate, we'll try a bunch of different things. I want to show you the card at its best. I don't want to sit here and like kick the can down the road about, oh yeah man, doing the same old benchmarks that everybody else does. There's plenty of them out there. I want to show you how to really utilize your AMD graphics card and get good image quality so that you can be happy with it. So, all right, my friends, thank you for coming. I really appreciate the support that you guys give the channel. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.